In life's journey, we must seek to reflect, learn, and grow. Welcome to the Road to Rediscovery with your host, Aubrey Johnson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another great episode of the Road to Rediscovery. I'm your host, Aubrey Johnson. We are so glad to have you on the journey with us. The Road to Rediscovery is about reflecting on life's lessons to learn and grow from them, and of course, to take it to the next level and uplift others who are struggling. As you all know, we have some amazing guests who share incredible journeys, often resonating and uplifting us. And trust me, this episode is no different. My special guest has an immense acting career spanning 5 decades with over 500 credits in television and film, from soap operas to primetime network dramas to box office films such as Runaway Train, The Expendables, The Dark Knight, and a lot more. He's an Academy Award nominee and 3-time Golden Globe nominee. Get ready for a great conversation, everyone, for it gives me great pleasure to welcome him and his wonderful wife of going almost up to real close 28 years this August, Eric and Eliza Roberts. Welcome to the show, guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Aubrey.
Oh yeah, no, my pleasure. So, a lot of crazy things have been going on in this world lately, with the whole pandemic, COVID-19. How's things been in the Roberts household with shelter in place? Any major adjustments or?
Well, my big major adjustment is I've learned how to blow dry long hair. I tried to convince my wife that it looks better now blow dry, but I'm told every day no, finish, because you have to work it. You gotta work it. So I've learned how to be a hair salon. It's been a blast.
He hasn't blow dried my hair. That's why it's so curly.
Not today.
Blow dried.
No.
Oh, okay.
I've definitely kept him over there in the possibility that I might need it. So don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
And we try to order food, which sometimes is successful and sometimes isn't so successful. And
Sure.
when it is successful, you get, well, we didn't have that, so we sent you this instead. So it is what it is. So thank God I have a relative, a stepdaughter, Morgan Simons, who owns her own bakery, Pie Bake Shop, P.I. Bake Shop.
Yeah.
So I just call the family, I need to eat. So I've been a bum who does hair,
Right.
who eats pie.
Hey, that keeps it simple, right? Yeah.
Definitely a lot of adjustments, obviously, psychological, emotional. It's interesting when you go through something like this because it changes, and most of our experiences have a beginning, middle, and end. This feels like we're in the middle the whole time because we don't really know where it's going.
Right.
We're not fully aware when it started. And so there's that kind of disconnected feeling. Feels like everybody started out kind of like, okay, let's do this together. And it started to wear on people. And, you got a lot of kind of melancholy and tension and a lot of shifts in personality. I mean, it's interesting to hear the common experiences that a lot of people are having, kind of variations on the same thing. It's certainly, we worry about the people who are ill, obviously.
And the protesters, we have to have the protesters. There is a real legitimate place to have this protest, but it's a bad time for it. Oh no, because COVID.
Yes. It's a double whammy, right?
And it's going to be bad, I fear, in a couple of weeks on a lot of people who aren't yet sick. And I just worry. And
I agree.
I'm a worrisome guy, but when I watch those crowds, I'm like, guys, oh no, where's your mask?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's been a shift for us as well. My wife and I, we are empty nesters. So it's her and I and the dog, right? Living here in North Texas, North Dallas. And I have a corporate job. So it was going there 9 to 5 each day. And now I'm working from home. She loves it. she loves it, and me, I like it. I like it a lot too, but just making the adjustment in terms of managing my work, and not seeing the people I work with, bumping into them in the hall or stopping by their desk and things like that makes it a little tricky for me. And now I'm pinging them on Microsoft Teams or on Zoom, and we're having these virtual discussions and everything, but work is still getting done, so yeah. So,
what I think about is this is, the new normal, that,
yes,
this is how it's going to be for maybe ever, possibly to some degree.
right.
And it's odd. And we're grandparents now. We have a grandchild, Georgia.
Congrats.
Thank you. And I think of her, seeing everybody with masks. And I'm a big kisser. I hug and kiss and while I'm there.
Yes.
Yeah, right now. And I'm just afraid that she's going to miss it as a personality. She's going to miss that ridiculous overloving that we all do.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of worried that we have a whole generation of young people who can't get close, physically close. And it's
right.
a big deal to touch and hug and kiss and push and pull and be with,
Completely.
And it's going to change everything. And I feel bad about it.
I have to agree with you, Eric. I do too, because I think we as humans, we are wired to be social creatures, right? No one lives on an island, and we want to touch. We need to have that touch and feel when it comes to establishing relationships. Incredibly important. So, Eric, I hope it's safe to assume that ever since this pandemic, that is one of the most major parts of this that you miss. Is that safe to say?
Oh yeah, I'm a ridiculous camp counselor. Let's all hug and kiss, work together, eat together, hang out, And
yeah.
she is also, in fact, she made me that way. I was that way when I met her. She created me into this image, and so I really miss it because because of the kids, because of the grandkids, because it's such a part of my social intercourse is touching, is grabbing and hugging and kissing and loving, and it's not there. But I'm not the only guy. This is our whole society right now. And every major city, we're having these protests that we need.
Sure.
I support them.
Right.
But bad timing, dudes. Wear a mask. Be smart.
Yes, I agree. Eliza, how about you? What is the major thing you miss since this outbreak, since this pandemic? Is it the same as Eric with the hugging, touching?
All of that, yes. Although I agree with you, Aubrey. I love working from home. And there's something about some of the social encounters that you get to miss that you actually want to miss.
That's right.
We never like to go out at night, and we're really relieved that we never have to go out at night.
Yes.
So there is a certain element of this is kind of, it simplifies and it takes away a lot of obligations. Mm-hmm. But there's a fear that's been implanted, and that's tough. A few things are kind of starting back a little bit.
Right.
And we've established something with our doctor called SOS, Safety on Set, to try to set up some kind of protocol so that we can go back to filming. And we did go to a set to have an actual in-person meeting with just very few people the other day. And, we were afraid. We were afraid, can you touch this? What's going to happen? We won't know, incubation period. And so the idea of going through life scared of this invisible thing is a very strange feeling. I missed the freedom from that, which I didn't appreciate before because we didn't even know that there was a thing to be free from.
Sure.
So there's plenty of scary things in life, but I really miss just the freedom of just going out and not worrying about it.
Right. Going to your favorite restaurant, right, for a date night. And it's packed. I'm sorry?
Going to the gym.
Going to the gym, right. Things
Yeah.
as simple as that, right?
Yeah.
That was my regiment, 5:30 in the morning before I started my work day, you know?
Right.
You too,
right.
Eric?
That's what he did too. I know. It's
Yeah.
interesting though. Are you finding that people, it used to be that if you wanted to work from home, usually your employer would say no because they said that there were a lot of studies that showed that people were less productive.
Distracted.
Right.
That's changed through the years anyway because we're electronically connected. And so you
Yes.
don't have to actually be sitting there in front of a hardline telephone and, you know, showing your boss, here I showed up. People work from all over. They work from their car. They work from the street. They work from other work.
They truly
But
do.
it seems like now people are finding that we're plenty productive from home.
Of
How
course.
about you? What's your feeling about that?
Well, yeah, my feeling is there's a saying that I have. In fact, throughout my department in human resources, we tell this to all the new hires, okay? Work is what you do. It's not where you go. So you can work from anywhere, right? Because the work is what you're doing, not where you are.
Yeah, that's really true. I also think it's kind of changes though your perception of people.
Yeah.
My mom passed away February 1st.
I'm sorry.
And she was, yeah, thank you. She was living at the motion picture home. So it's hard to imagine what it would have been like for her. You know, a lot of people were lost there and
Right.
who knows, but she passed away February 1st.
Mhm.
And, you know, there's a lot of business I had to take care of, you know, talking to
Right.
the people at her banks, you know, these things that are usually very, very clinical.
Yes.
When the virus was revealed, I can't say it hit because it already was here. We just didn't know it.
Right.
And so suddenly I'm talking to the people at Schwab, these people who they sound like they're reading from a script when they talk to you.
Yeah.
And one of them, it was the first time I experienced this. One of them said to me, oh, sorry, it took me a few days to get back to you, but I'm working from home. My home computer is nothing like the computers at you know, the company.
Right.
Suddenly I started to picture these young kids basically all working from whatever their mom's house or the studio
Yeah.
apartment. And
Right.
suddenly the relationship immediately became way more casual and friendly.
Yes.
Because
Affectionate.
because
Very
it was,
affectionate. Yes.
well, because it was just people. And
Mhm.
and anytime I would say to them, I bet you feel glad that you're able to keep your job. They were like, oh yeah, because you know, so many people were furloughed and
It
laid
is
off.
so
And
Oh yeah.
sad,
Yeah.
dude.
Very sad. Very sad. My goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they have to stay home and they can't make money.
Yeah,
You know, meanwhile, the landlord's knocking on the door, you know.
of course, because the landlord also has bills to pay. I mean, we were really hoping that people weren't going to be pressured, kind of starved out of keeping safe, so that they
Yes.
weren't pressured to
Yes.
go back to work, because you're kind of having to choose which kind of loss do you want? Do you want
Right.
potential loss of life from illness or the potential loss of life from losing your livelihood?
Right.
It
Right.
feels to me like there had to have been a better solution than what was offered to us,
Well,
which was
And-
no solution. But anyway.
Right.
for this kind of thing, you have to get ready to be ready when the time comes. So you have
That's
to have
right.
a unit for it
Yes.
that can guide us. And
Mhm.
what happened was that that unit got closed down. So we had no guidance. So it got scattered, it got confused, and a lot of people died who wouldn't have died. So it was a real issue. So we had to act like grown-ups and not act like it was a game. Oh, I can go to the gym if I go early in the morning. No, you
Right.
can't go to the gym.
No, you can't go.
Thank
That's
you.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it like honestly changed everything, and it made me feel bad because I'm an old guy. I don't care. I've seen everything twice. I'm okay.
Yeah. Right.
But you know, the kids, you know, it's
Yeah.
not fair and it's unkind.
It
And
is.
and I was so out of control as a little boy that God, I would run my parents up a tree during this era, you know?
Yeah, because and you know, I may be one generation slightly behind you, but I mean, growing up, you know, I was outside. I had to be outside, had to be interacting with my buddies, right? we're wrestling. I mean, we're running, and just going in the creek. I mean, you name it, all the things that they say not to do during these days because of the pandemic.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And it's a world thing. I mean, I keep on, that's always been my philosophy anyway. I don't think of it as our country, their country, this country, that country. We are all on this planet and everyone is experiencing it. And really has very little to do with government or anything else. It's just a reality. And we are capable of so much and adjusting and adapting to so much if we just give ourselves a chance and if the focus is to help each other, as you were saying.
And it can also show how wonderful and easy it is to be good, to do the right thing. It's not hard. It takes a lot more effort to be disruptive. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot more energy. Yeah, for sure. To be disruptive and everything. But being socially responsible, self-quarantining and just practicing social distancing, shelter in place. I mean, it's all the right stuff. And yeah, it's painful for some people because like you, I don't want to sound as if it's just that easy for everyone. Everyone's situation and lifestyle is different. Working from home, while it may be convenient for some people, may be inconvenient for others, who have little ones who are used to dropping the little ones off at daycare, which they can't do now, or teaching their kids from home, which they're not a teacher. It's different situations.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how we can help each other, even though you can't physically go help each other. I think we really can help each other by kind of demanding that the people who can actually help are there and finding the people who really need the specific different kinds of help. It definitely, again, you're restricted just by the physicality, but it comes down to patience, AJ. In a big way, it comes down to just being patient. We wanted this to just have a date, an expiration date. It doesn't.
Right.
It's nature and science, which is magnificent and powerful in all kinds of ways and very daunting. And we're just not going to get what we want, which is a solution, a clean, easy solution, an answer to all our questions. The information changes 14 times a day.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's the hard lesson. Are you guys sports fans?
I am. Especially pro
nice.
football, but everything. I like it all, but especially pro football.
Yes.
Which, oh man, the NBA and the NFL, it's a bad year, man. It's a bad year.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
it truly
our son is a touring musician. Keaton Simons is his name. He's doing something on June 11th, as a matter of fact, online with the Mercury Insurance music program. But
he was on a European tour with Brett Young. They had sold out stadiums.
Yep.
Shut them down.
Halfway through, they were
shut them down.
Well, because of the pandemic, they did dates, and then they came back. So concerts and sporting events, it's really hard to imagine 50,000 people gathering somewhere ever, because we're always going to have that feeling. Is there a new virus that we haven't discovered yet? We're going to discover it the hard way.
That's right.
So, but it's really interesting because when you think about it, our definition, our concept of success has always been the number of people you can reach, the amount of ticket sales, how big, everything big, your big audience, your big reach.
Right.
Well, now the real value is going to be the incredibly talented artists who are willing to play for 5 people, 10 people. Do you know what I'm saying? Or no one.
Or Zoom it.
Oh yeah.
Zoom.
Or Zoom. And same with
Zoom it.
Yeah. I mean, the late night people you're talking about, that some of them may get back to their shows, but with no audience. So in other words, then it can't be about feedback, and it can't be about size, and that's going to be an interesting adjustment in the thinking. Therefore, it can't be also about dollars. If you're a record label or TV or a TV network, what about films? You can't calculate box office anymore. True. You know, why spend
No.
$100 million to make a movie when you can't open it in theaters? So we have a lot of adjusting to do. And we really have to realize that health and longevity come first, right?
First and foremost, because if you don't put that first, then you're not going to be in a position to where you can perform, right?
Oh.
Or start a business or make money.
The answer,
Yeah. I'm a huge sports fan, and I just have to say I'm going through sports withdrawals right now. I love pro football. You too, Eric? Yeah. I love college football. My son plays college football.
Wow.
Where is he?
Yeah.
Where is he?
He's going to the University of Kentucky. I'm originally from Cincinnati, and so my company moved me down here to Texas. But after graduating high school, he decided he wanted to go to Kentucky and be a Wildcat. So he's in his senior year right now.
How did you get out of Kentucky with a standard American accent? Perfect.
No,
English?
he wasn't in Kentucky. He's from Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
His son went to college.
Just over the river.
Perfect standard American speech.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a military brat, and both my parents were in the military, and we moved around a lot. So I haven't been in any place long enough to pick up a regional accent, I guess you can say. So
It's good, dude. You sound cool.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. But yeah, I'm going through sports withdrawals, and I'm watching that NFL pass. They have the NFL ticket where you can watch pass games. So
All I do. That's all I do.
yeah. Same thing. So how'd you guys meet? I'd love to hear about how you met.
In 1989, I fly in from Rome. I'm at
Yeah.
JFK. I'm handed a script. Read the script on the plane on your way to LAX, because when you land, you have to give an answer if you'll do it. Gotcha. Great. Okay. I get on. It's a very nice airline. It's called the MGM Grand. It's a private airline they're flying me on. Cool. I have this little like a double seat place with a desk.
Right.
The seat is an attractive redhead who is also reading a script. So I think she's an actor, I guess. I guess I'll say hi and ignore that. So we say hi and we start reading our scripts at the same time. We close them at the same time. So we kind of have to, hi, what's that? This is so-and-so. What are you reading? This is so-and-so. Who wrote that? Who wrote this? She says to me, who's your favorite screenwriter? I said, now this is our first conversation. Who's your one guy, David Rayfield. He wrote 3 Days of a Condor, Out of Africa, The Way We Were, blah, 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 blah. She goes, oh, I know. He's my father. And I said, wow.
No.
And I have your phone number. He said, I'm in a relationship. I said, I didn't ask to kiss you. I asked for your phone number. So she laughed and gave it to me. And the really good part about this story is I call her within hours. I call her.
Yeah.
A man answered the phone with a very deep voice. Hello, may I speak to Eliza? May I calling? Eric, just a minute, please. He goes away. She comes back and we talk. Years later, I hear this. He goes to her on that phone call. He says, telephone call. Who is it? Eric. I don't know an Eric. I just met her. I don't know an Eric. It sounds like Eric Roberts. Oh, yeah, I met him on the plane. She took the call.
Yeah.
That man hadn't said, it sounds like Eric Roberts. She would not have taken the call. I would not have called back.
Wow.
That man was Jeffrey Dean Morgan from Walking Dead, who was crashing at her pad because he was so broke he couldn't afford a place.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Walking Dead. Yeah.
Really?
I hold him responsible for my good fortune in my marriage.
That is an extraordinary story. I love it.
Thank
It's so
you.
pivotal, right?
Yeah,
You know?
it changed my life, buddy.
Yeah, it's totally life-changing. That is hugely impactful. That's awesome. I love that story. So that tells me then, Eliza, you've been involved in acting as well for years?
Yeah.
My wife comes from Hollywood royalty, you know, David Rayfield, and her mother, Lila Garrett, wrote, produced, and directed like all the Lucy series, but the black and white ones, Dick Van Dyke, what else? Tons.
All in the Family, Bewitched, Get Smart.
Early TV.
Oh, you're kidding.
There's a monster.
Legends.
The first woman in those rooms. Yeah.
I was in
Really?
Animal House, the movie Animal House. I was in Animal House.
Yeah.
But I've been acting forever. It's kind of all I know. So
Yeah.
we had so many friends in common. It's funny that we met on the plane. Kind of feels like it was going to happen no matter what, because we were
Yeah.
just in the same circles. But you
Yeah.
never know. And also, that was kind of a fun way. Now I want to know where you met your wife.
You want to know where I met my wife?
Yeah. Where'd you meet your wife?
Wow. Okay. Well, it's very similar to you two being like in acting for such a while, and you knew a lot of common people, because my wife and I, she's a year older than me. Okay. And we went to the same high school and didn't even know it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so
Crazy.
she graduated a year earlier than me, being a year older and everything. And I didn't meet her until maybe my third or fourth year out of high school. And I think, let's see, I was just wrapping up college at that time. And so her and I, we knew all the same people in high school, but didn't know each other.
Funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did it take a while for you to find out that you'd gone to the same high school, or did you find that out right away when you did meet?
We found that out right away, but you know what? And I'm kind of a movie buff. I don't know if you saw this movie with Tom Hanks called Joe versus the Volcano.
Yes, we did.
Okay, I think Meg Ryan was in that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in Joe versus the Volcano, there are different like chapters in Joe's life, Tom Hanks, where excuse me, where he's going through either a career or he's going through a hiatus where he's walking the world, pondering in thought. And in each chapter of his life, he meets the same girl. Just she looks different, and they hit it off, and then somehow they go separate ways, and then about 10 years later they catch back up, you know, just by happenstance, right? Well, that's how my wife and I were. In the early 90s, we met up and we hung out for a while, and then just went to different ways. 5 years later, caught back up again, ran into each other, and then, you know, hung out for a while, for about 3 or 4 months, and then kind of just went separate ways. And then 6 years later, we ran into each other again, and then we've been together ever since. So
Movie romantic.
That is so cool. What a fun story. I love that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So, you know, it's kind of fairy tale-ish to almost kind of, you know, meant to be type of thing.
How many kids do you have? Your son? Is that your only child?
My son is my only child through my first wife, and she has a daughter through her first marriage. And she's in her early 30s with a husband and 3 kids. But my wife and I, we've been together since she was 7. So we've known each other and been together for quite a while.
That is
wow. It's a great story.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Very similar. Yeah. We have kids not together, but you know, we both have kids, and oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, look, Eric, there's something I need to just kind of share with both of you, okay, as a movie fan. I haven't seen all of your films, I'll admit, okay, but from what I've seen...
I haven't seen all of my films.
Oh, you haven't either? Well, you've done so many, man. I mean, you'd have to put in some serious time to sit down and watch it. Hey, which quickly reminds me, if you don't mind me asking, since you have been home a lot, has there been any shows on Netflix that you've binged on? Both of you.
I have, yeah. What about you?
Well, here's what happened.
Okay.
For a generation and a half now, she's been trying to get me to watch a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a chick flick lover. But,
okay.
So I always gave excuses, always ducked, always got away with it. But now, crap, I've been trapped for months, right? I can't lie. I can't make an excuse. I can't be unavailable. I can't be, where is he? I can't be I can't be any of it. I'm here with her. So she goes, we're watching these movies. It's going to make you happy. You're going to be glad you did this. Okay. So everything from Sleep on to The Vow, all of it. I've seen all the chicks. I like every freaking one of them. I had no idea how energetic
Really?
they all are. And so that's been our evening every day. I see a new chick flick that's 800 years old that everybody knows about me. And
well, it's new to you.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, and he's really funny because I got him to see Sleepless in Seattle, as he said, and The Vow. Something's Gotta Give, Love Actually, The Family Man, just all those movies. And what's funny is they're new to him. So he'll say things like, why is their cell phone a flip phone and it's so big? What? Or why are they using a payphone? I'll be like, Eric, he's 18 years old. And he'll be like, oh yeah, you completely had no idea. So sure, all the technology's wrong, the fashion, the music.
Right. Everything I watch is a period piece now. It's funny, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, period piece.
So I've been watching The Good Fight, which is the spinoff from The Good Wife. It's not necessarily Netflix. I mean, Dead to Me, obviously.
Right.
But we've been binge watching, again, it's old shows. House.
Yeah.
You know, which
House, I remember. The Doctor.
House is,
I never saw it.
It's our really good friends who made that show.
I'm watching Friends now. Communication. I never watched Friends. I'm watching
Seriously?
Friends. Yeah, I'm a whole generation behind. I told you. So I'm watching Friends. I love that show. Every week, those guys are fantastic. The scripts.
It's a good show.
Oh my God, how they do that?
Yeah. No, I agree. But like I was mentioning earlier regarding the roles that I've seen you play, Eric, the villain, right? Those are the ones I've seen, at least. And I've told my wife this, so, you know, this isn't anything I wouldn't tell anyone. But in my mind, and you know, I'm not a student of the art of theater or acting or anything, but in my mind, what I believe makes a brilliant actor is if they are able to convince me to the point to where I absolutely despise their character.
I've had several of those, I'm sure.
and you know what? You're on a short list, okay? And the short list consists of let's see, John Lithgow. Mm-hmm. Okay, Gary Oldman. Now I know Gary Oldman was a good guy in The Dark Knight, but I guess I'm referring to like the Book of Eli and Air Force One. Yeah. But and then you know, but with the caveat of Runaway Train, I love Buck. I could sit and have a beer with him and talk with him, you know, all day. Yeah. So my question to you, Eric, is when it comes to portraying the character of, say, a villain versus a good guy, is there any different feeling in how you approach in portraying that character? I mean, is it more liberating to play the villain versus the good guy? Is it less pressure? Is it more pressure? Or is it just no difference at all?
Great question. I love answering this. Where I put myself as an actor who is doing homework to do the job is this. Okay. I'm doing bad things in the script. I'm called a bad guy. But bad guys do not believe they are bad guys. You cannot convince them. I had to do that. I had to shoot him, whatever it is. I had no choice, you know. Whatever it is, the bad action, they didn't have a choice. It had to be that way. And if anybody else, so they always are innocent in their own self, you know, projection. They're always going to be the victim because they're not. But they have to 86 it. They have to undo it, or else you can't live with yourself if you have any intelligence. So So that's where I put my head in, that I am not a bad person. I am not a bad guy. Yes, I shot it. Yes, I shot her too. Yes, I killed her too. Come on, I had to do it, and that's how I play.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I love that approach, man. I love that approach. And I know this is going to sound like a random question, but you don't have any an affinity for boxing or anything? Do you like boxing? Do you like the sport of boxing? Now, here's why I'm asking that question. I am a huge boxing fan. In fact, I was a judge in the state of Ohio for professional fights, and that was just like a side hobby of mine, but I loved it. And, in Runaway Train, you had some pretty good moves, in the ring there. Plus, you've been in 2 films with, at least that I know so far, with Sylvester Stallone. And I'm a huge Rocky fan. So just didn't know, if boxing was something that you've thought of in the past or just dabbled in.
No, I was kind of half a martial artist for a while, but
Yeah.
with boxing, I had to learn full Runaway Train. And in fact, I got all ready because I was a boxer, and I did all my training, got all in shape, got ready for the movie, blah, blah, blah. And then they said the writer of the screenplay was a man named Eddie Bunker. And he said to me, "Oh, I did time with one of the guys who's up for your boxer. I did 17 years with him. He did 11 of my 17 years with me. His name is Danny Trejo. I want you to pick him as the guy you fight in the ring." I said, "Okay, Eddie, I'll do that." "Okay, what does he look like?" "He's Mexican with a tattoo on his chest." "Okay, cool." Line them all up. Now, they line them all up. They're all Mexican, and they all have tattoos on their chest. So I 1 minute, please. And I run back and I find Eddie. "Eddie, they're all Latin. They all have tattoos. What do I do?"
Right.
He describes the tattoo to me on his chest. He described it to me. So I go back and I see it. And I say, "I want him." He started crying. He was so happy. He was the most gentle man I have ever played a violent scene with in my life. And we made best friends. We've been friends ever since. And that was 1986. 87, or whenever that was.
Mid-80s. Yeah.
It was a while back. and we've been friends ever since. And he has a career, and he's become a real actor. He can act.
Yes, he has. Yes,
and
he has.
A good cat. He's a good cat. And now he's a restaurateur. Who knew?
That's amazing. That's amazing. Again, it's those defining pivotal moments in time where a certain decision is made or a certain gesture is made or someone says something in particular that changes the whole outlook of everything that follows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Awesome. Let's see here. Now, the Road to Rediscovery is about reflecting on life's lessons and everything. And so it also involves having the humility and open-mindedness to reflect on our tough lessons, right? All in the name of growth. So if you don't mind me asking, Eric and Eliza, I went through IMDb and I noticed a quote that you said that really resonated with me. Okay. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to ask your thoughts. This quote says, quote, "My life is going to kill me. We all get angry when we realize that, but the anger is fear." To me, it's truly powerful. It's a powerful statement. If you could please share with the listeners your meaning or thoughts behind that.
Well, when you get in touch with your mortality, you can go 2 ways. Mm-hmm. You can get very overwhelmed and very depressed. Mm-hmm. Or you can decide it's the most precious, valuable thing anybody can be offered. Mm. And what you do with it and who you share it with and who you show it to is life. Mm-hmm. It's the blood and the breath of life.
Yes.
And without her reparenting me, and that I didn't speak to people, I was very regimented. I only did my work. I didn't speak to you, personally. I was very stiff, tight, uptight, but very dedicated, very disciplined, very hardworking, not at all condescending to people, but not warm, not available, not approachable, a little selfish, a lot selfish. And then I meet somebody who's the kindest person I've ever met. And she says to me, "People think you're an asshole." And I said, People think you're an a-hole. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Why on earth would they think that? And she's like, you don't speak to anybody. And so it comes across like you think you think you're special. It comes across badly, buddy. And I'm like, I'm just trying to do the work, doll, and I'm not very smart. I got to focus. And she's like, well, you need to be a little smarter and you need to be nicer. I'm like, excuse me? She goes, yeah. She goes, it's a big part of life is being that way. And you are good at your job, but the journey to get to your job has to be fun for everybody, not just you. And I was like, whoa, okay.
And the light comes on, right?
Well, she explained to me, when you are recognizable and you are fortunate in your life's pursuits,
yes,
you have to be kind, and you have to share, and you have to be approachable, and you have to be accessible, because not everybody has that, and they all want to understand it. So you have to be able to be a giver, because you taught me. And she taught me that single-handedly, and I learned it well, and I practice it well now. But at the time, she was right about everything, and I had to be reschooled, and was. But I'm not a bad student.
No, not at all, Eric. Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. So beautiful, because as you were saying that, I was thinking about the lessons that I've had to learn and relearn thanks to my wife, and I have to tell you just real quick, growing up in my household, especially with two military parents, my father was a drill sergeant, and I don't mean that, figuratively. He was really a drill sergeant. I mean, he, basic training, all that. Excuse me. So, he ran the show. Okay. It was the father that ran the show. And of course, back then, they had roles. The mother did this, the father did this, and he ran the show. And no, mom did not give him a honey-do list. He knew what had to be done around the house. She never told him what he needed to do. And that's how I grew up. That's what I saw, and then I'm in a relationship with my wife now, early in our relationship where we're living together and everything. And so she's giving me all these things to do, and I'm like very resentful and rejecting them because that's not what I'm used to seeing growing up, and so I had to learn some things as well, is my point.
Wow. So. That's really interesting.
Not to be sarcastic or cute, but as a real fact, I call my wife the boss, and I refer to her, ask the boss. I don't know, ask the boss, because he is the boss of many things, and this isn't the boss I want. So it's like, ask my boss, because that's who I made my boss. So for those hard questions, ask her, and that's what I do. And I will say to people, ask the boss. I will say that to them, because she runs my chef, and I back her up, and I make people glad they hired me. But she runs my chef. Yeah.
Aubrey,
it's beautiful.
It's very interesting to hear that about you, because my impression of you, I can't speak for Eric, but I would imagine his impression is the same, is just this incredible sweetness and kindness, gentleness,
likable guy,
and vulnerability in a way. The big question that all of us are wondering our whole lives is, can people change?
Right.
Or do they just have ways of layering on top of who they are? Maybe the answer is yes and no. But we are big advocates of a website and a philosophy called Natural Child. It's naturalchild.org. It's really amazing, and you'll want to look at it. And a lot of the people who've kind of been saved in a way by this philosophy are people who were raised by military parents and who had that dynamic, and they grew up kind of fearful, or kind of there's a lot of trauma in that situation,
militaristic,
and so
very much.
and then when you become a parent yourself, you know, you don't want to repeat, but a lot of times we're not in control of what we repeat and what we don't repeat. It's interesting that you were drawn to a woman. I mean, on one hand, it's just generational and societal, because you're not going to find a woman who's going to be like your mom, you know, 25 years later. Things change.
Right.
But it's interesting that you were drawn to somebody who wasn't going to do that, wasn't going to have you be the boss and her be just kind of subservient over there.
Right.
But somehow it seems like what happened with you is, and maybe partly from this journey that you've taken, or largely, or just totally because of the journey, your real soul emerged. Something that maybe wasn't as couldn't safely emerge when you were growing up, but now it has.
Yes.
Are your parents still with us?
My father passed in 2006. My
Okay.
mother is still alive. She's retired, and she's living the life of playing penny slots and bingo.
Good.
So, yeah. So
Did your dad come to appreciate the man that you became, and did he like your wife and like how you were with your son? And I mean, what was that like?
Oh, thank you for asking, Eliza. Yeah, my father, before he passed, he grew to love the type of man I've become. He loves Sherry, my wife, and he loves the father I've become to my son. And we've gone through some dark times in the early 2000s at the time, and not me and my father, I'm saying, but I was actually going through a divorce with my son's mother, my ex-wife, and the divorce took a lot longer because I decided to fight for custody. And my dad thought, that was just the right thing to do, not because I was his son, but between what he saw with me and my now ex-wife, he just figured it's best for the child, trying to be as objective as possible. And so those were some dark times that, we went through, trying to make this as transparent to our son as possible, but trying to be as amicable as possible. And the way he said I handled it, he was very pleased of that. And I tried to get my father's approval for many years of making all these accomplishments, right? Being in the band, I was a big saxophone player, and I would, get all these different awards for being in the band and all these other accolades. And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's fine. And I'm like, how can I impress this guy? Well, the time that it impressed him to the point where he said he was proud of me was during the time when I wasn't trying to. I was just doing what I thought as a father would be the right thing to do.
Wow. Yeah. So great. There's a huge lesson in that.
Oh, a huge lesson. So, and that's naturalchild.org. Is that right?
Yeah, naturalchild.org.
And it's also great. Keaton, her oldest kid, reads the book. It's fantastic.
Yeah, because there's several books that are written by this author, the person who has basically created the site. And one of them is called The Natural Child, and Keaton is the voice of the audiobook.
Wonderful.
There are things in life that are the same in acting. Because what usually is your winning card in life is authenticity. And the same thing is true in acting. You can try to approach a scene a million different ways that you think will be interesting, and you can't capture people's attention, including your own.
Right.
And then you just suddenly, something in it becomes real for you, and you're not even trying. And that's the moment. And it's the same thing as what happened with your dad.
That makes sense. I never even thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is he now impressed with me when I wasn't even trying? But all the years that I did try, he didn't blink an eye. But that makes a lot of sense, Eliza.
Yeah. Yeah. And he probably didn't view himself in the same powerful role that you did, even though he exercised his power when you were growing up.
Sure.
Usually that's done by a person who doesn't feel all that powerful. That's their secret. But you as the child perceive the power. And so then you go on to look for his approval, and he's like, what do you need? Why am I getting this vibe that you need my approval? I'm not all that. Right.
Yeah.
And then later you just blossomed and you were you. And he went, "That's my son. That's pretty cool."
Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Eliza, because that is some incredible insight that I can take with me and think about, So,
Good.
yeah. Hey, I wanted to ask you guys about one more thing, and then we can head into our 3 for the Road segment. Is that okay?
Yes.
Sure, you're the boss.
Awesome. So from what I understand, there's a product called the Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you give the listeners some insight on this product?
I have a great friend. He's a business partner of mine. His name is John Hoffman. And he like found out about this this technique for ED, what they do for it. In these sexual clinics, you go when you're suffering from ED, and they zap your appendage with this tool that uses sound waves.
Mm-hmm.
And it breaks up the plaque you have in your bloodstream that gets clogged up in there. It's the same thing that clogs up the heart. It's the plaque in the bloodstream, and it gets in the way of the blood flow in our appendage. So it gets in the way of, so it brings on ED. Right. Okay, when I heard all this, I'm great, but I'm not really involved. Mm-hmm. Thank you. He goes, "No, Eric, this is a remedy, and it's a huge issue for people because everybody has plaque, so everybody's going to have this issue eventually somehow." So I'm like, you know what? And I start asking because men don't talk about this. As a man, this. We don't talk to our friends about how's your ED. Is it good or bad? We don't do that. Yeah, right. Right.
That's right.
But I decided I was going to, and I started asking all my guys if they have any issues. And after making fun of me, they all said, "Yeah, it's a delayed reaction these days because they're all my age. It's a delayed reaction these days." Well, mine's not. But anyway, but the point is, it made sense to me. So I asked him, "Well, I have to have one of these, dude. Let me have it." So he gives it to me. Now, I didn't have any issues, and my wife says, "If you keep saying that you don't have any issues, everybody's going to think you do, honey." So, but even me, who doesn't have any issues, I started using it. It helped. Unbelievable. Really? It works, dude. It's the only reason I'm talking about it. It works. Yeah. On a guy who didn't have the issue, it worked.
Yeah. So you're skipping something very important. Sorry. It was a great spiel, but Eric's right. At first, it was at these health clinics, and you had to go for a treatment. It was expensive. Plus, you had to go for a treatment.
Thousands.
Gotcha.
But John Hoffman, he's an inventor, and what he invented is something that you can have at home.
Portable.
Yeah, it's just a handheld thing. And basically,
awesome.
The thing that makes ED difficult is the D, calling it dysfunction. There's so many times we use that word that I think we shouldn't. There's all these disorders. You take all of personality and you call it a disorder. In the DSM-R, there's all these disorders listed. That's too bad because all you're talking about is just character, elements of people's character.
Right.
Of course, there are disorders, but in a way, we undertreat the disorders by throwing everything in there. So ED is, of course, stands for erectile dysfunction. Right. That's unfortunate. It's very simple. And nature is perfect this way. When you're getting towards the procreative years, we're designed to keep our species going, right? You're getting towards those years. There's kind of practice that goes on. The next thing you know, you're 21, 25, whatever, and it's all at its height for both men and women. Right. And then as you're no longer going to be reproducing, it kind of ebbs. But our lifestyle is so different now, and we have so many other reasons for wanting to connect. And so when you're a guy or a woman, when you're a person and you've had it just be right there for you, it's kind of weird. There's so much stigma attached. People are taking pills. We're so anti drug. There's side effects. It's scary. Yeah. So this thing is really, Eric's right. It's just plaque. It's in the blood. It's the same plaque as what gets on our teeth. It's just plaque. So this is just basically
as simple as that, dude.
It's just like it's kind of like a cleanse or it's you use a sound wave.
When you know that, it makes sense to you, and when you use it, the actually using other device is to let you know, oh, this makes sense. Because it goes,
Okay.
it makes a
Right.
little noise, but it's sound waves, and it's breaking
Yeah.
up the plaque. And it works because I saw the difference and I didn't think I had an issue. So there you go.
And the way that
Wow.
the Phoenix works
Yeah.
is, they made a gadget, and it's, I mean, they could have designed it anyway. It's made a gadget and has
Sure.
colorful lights and whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
why not? It's a product, you're selling it. But
Right.
the way that it works is I think you do like 2 self-treatments a week, just at home or wherever,
Okay.
for 15 minutes or so. It's not an instant thing. It's not like, okay, ready, go. You just do that.
Right,
And
right.
it's just like going to the gym, brushing your teeth,
Like therapy.
whatever, just a kind of a regimen. And it
Okay.
really, really restores a lot of the vitality to that part of you physically.
The blood flow.
Okay.
And so that helps
Right.
mentally,
blood flow.
because you don't sit
Of
there
course.
going, oh, here goes. I wonder if it's going to work this time. As a woman, I hate the pressure on men to perform. I mean, that's just so unfortunate. I can't imagine if I was needing to perform in an area that has to do with lovemaking. I just would never. I just be a nun. I mean, I just wouldn't even begin.
Right.
So,
No,
and by
who
the
wants
way,
that pressure, right?
the pressure, exactly. And by the way, this is this, you don't have to be, it doesn't matter if you're straight, gay, this, that, whatever. They're actually working
Right.
on something that also can help for women, because again, you have reduced sensation and reduced everything, and they have medicines for that. But who wants to take medicine for that? That's kind of scary. Hormones, I mean, that's all scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to mess with your hormones. You don't want to do that.
No. No.
So the Phoenix is kind of, listen, it's very cool. It's I think the website is Scorched Bird. And I guess that has something to do with what a Phoenix is. I mean, whatever.
Right. Bird of fire.
You
Yeah.
can kind of look up Eric and it kind of connects you.
Yeah.
But it's a positive thing. It's also great to not have shame around these parts of our lives.
Well, right. Especially, I'm in my early 50s. And so, there are things that I have to come to terms with, right? I mean, I love I love what you're sharing about this product. I really do. And I have a personal vested reason, that I'll share here in a minute. But is there a timetable that this could be like available to the masses or anything? Or?
I think it's just now
It's
available.
available now.
I think they
That's
got
great.
a ton of pre-orders, and I
Okay.
think they just finished the manufacture,
Yeah.
and so now you can get it. And it's it's a great thing to have. It's a great gift. I mean, it's funny and
Yes.
fun and whatever.
Yeah.
Scorchedbird.com.
Scorchedbird.com.
There you go.
Got it. Yeah. Now, back in 2017, I was diagnosed by my urologist as having prostate cancer.
Oh,
And yeah, and so he gave me a number of options, and I decided to go the option of full surgery removal of my prostate.
Wow.
right.
Yeah, and so in July of no, I take that back. July, that was last year, my rotator cuff. But in 2017, in May, in 2017, I went in for my prosthesis, and they were thankfully able to remove my prostate in whole. So there's no traces of the cancer left in me. And it was one heck of a road. And I'll tell you this, and I'm not saying that I'm any poster of health, but I've never been under the knife until I was 49 years old, getting my prostate removed. I never had tonsils taken out, no appendectomy, no broken leg. I mean, in the hospital for nothing until I turned 49 and was diagnosed with this. And so, what follows from that, right? I can't take any type of testosterone supplements anymore because they don't want this to regenerate or anything.
Right.
And so now you're looking for alternatives, right? To still be able to, to be intimate with your partner, your significant other, my wife. And so that's one of the vested reasons I had in asking this as well.
Glad to hear that. And you have to let me know, because on and off air, it's up to you. But I'm fascinated by what it's like to lose that and what you do about it.
Yes.
On and off air, I don't care, but I want to know. And
I will.
this is a great advice for you. I'm so glad to know you now. It's so cool.
Yeah, you know.
Likewise, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. There's a lot of things that are really exclusive to our time. For instance, so many people are on SSRIs for depression. Well, everybody knows that those are libido killers. Really hard to get aroused, male or female. And people, because it basically kind of numbs everything, including that response. So this device, you don't want to then add to that another drug for this, and then you got this that does that. There are a lot more incidents of successful ending of prostate cancer, but it does take something radical, like you're talking about. There's also situations where people they're starting families way older. There's so many things where this is relevant. All the shame things, like for instance, we were talking about a lot of our friends, they just want to get out of the house, so they want to take a road trip. But because of the pandemic, like, where are they going to stop to use a public restroom? They can't. Most of them are closed. Otherwise, you don't feel safe. So I was like, well, thank God that Whoopi and everybody's getting up there, Lisa Rinna and stuff, about adult diapers. Because, you know, just in case, at least you can feel comfortable in your car, right?
Right, exactly.
So all this stuff, unshrouding the shame off all this stuff, so we can be like, woo, great, we're ready for modern life because of the Phoenix and because of Depends.
So the Phoenix and Depends, right? I mean, they help usher that time in for us to where we can be transparent and candid about it.
Totally. I gotta tell you, it's funny because John Hoffman had to do some merch for talk to some merch people. So Keaton, my son, who's way younger than you look so young, but way younger than all of us. He does music with a lot of different people. One is Trey Hardson from The Far Side. So Trey's merch guy is really great. And so I connected John with the merch guy. So Keaton's like, by the way, Mom, what are you connecting John Hoffman with Trey's merch guy for? I thought, should I tell him? Is that, how's he going to react? And I wasn't really sure.
It's her kid.
But we have a very open relationship. But I just thought, if you're young, you might be like, what? Who cares? That's stupid.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy, and he's a musician, and he's, cute. He's on the road and whatever.
Sure.
So he, although he's in a relationship, and he's very much in love. So,
okay, good.
He heard about it. He goes, "That's awesome."
Yeah.
He his guy friends are very open. He said, "That's such a healthy, good thing, and it's such a good thing to talk about." He's like, "Yeah, Trey's merch guy is going to be totally into helping with that." Wow. I was so encouraged.
It's so much fun as a guy to not. I've had this long relationship. I'm not threatened about my sexuality. So it's like, I've been using this thing and it works, dudes. It's like, it's not emotional. It's not a big deal. It's not about my manhood. Yeah. It's about black.
Yeah.
and I know how to do it.
Well, Aubrey, one thing happened that was really funny. We were we were promoting a movie called Inside the Rain that Eric had done. Really interesting film. And we were on KTLA, a mainstream news show here in LA. Yeah. And, really reaching a lot of people, like, just network television. So they give you like 2 seconds, but they wanted to talk about the Phoenix. So they put us on. We had to really nutshell no pun intended, the conversation.
Right.
So we're just doing it. We have no idea. And they're those stiff, also no pun, news guys sitting next, and women sitting next to us. The second they cut to go to commercial, the entire camera crew, which was everything. It was straight guys, gay guys, straight girls, gay girls. Everybody left their cameras and converged upon us with pens and their cell phones going, how do we get it? How do we get it? Where do we get it? I mean, it was so funny. Every single person, the news guys said, we have never seen our camera guys, before they left the camera, they're like, something's happening here. Our camera guys, we've never seen them even pay attention to our show.
Right.
They're like, we're going to get it. So many of them became customers immediately. That shows you the need.
Why I got into this, when I realized 7 out of 10 men have ED issues. because, you know, and we're all going to have it eventually, but they have it in the process 7 out of 10 guys because of plaque. And you know it's plaque. You're so not threatened by it. Oh, I got to get rid of my plaque. It's okay.
Right.
And you know, I like play guys that are, you know, very studly. And it's just funny to me that it's all about plaque, dude. It is not about your manhood. It's about plaque.
Yeah.
And when it's that simple, we can take the shame out of it completely. It's not even, ooh, big secret. It's just the plaque, dude. It's okay.
Well, I tell you, Eric, from one band to another, I truly, truly appreciate that perspective because as we all know now, there's such psychological stigma when it comes to this, right? And from me to you, Eliza, I really respect and thank you for what you said earlier about the pressure on men to perform, right? Yes. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that as well, because I think all that wrapped up is what makes that psychological stigma, right?
That's exactly right, brother. It's exactly right. It's so cool. Yeah.
No, for sure. Well, thank you. I'm going to make sure that we put the URL and the link to the Phoenix product on our episode show notes, so our listeners can get to that information. And man, this is really, really exciting. Eric, Eliza, this has been such a joy having this conversation with you. I've really been enjoying myself. I hope you have been as well.
Yes.
Dude, thank you. And we love your kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah. After dinner, I'm going to make some meatloaf.
Well, we're vegan, but it's okay. You can make some lentil loaf.
Okay, I'll make some lentil loaf, Eliza, for sure.
We have to play his game. We have to play his game.
She's very hostile of eating animal. I got to warn you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, well, thank you. Now we're going to enter a segment called 3 for the Road. And this is where I ask my guests 3 random thought-provoking questions that I challenge my guests to answer in 5 words or less. Do you guys think you're up for it?
Yes.
Sure, it sounds like fun.
All right. Okay, so here we go. Starting with question 1 for 3 for the Road. And by the way, either one of you can answer, okay? Or both. All right. Name a place where you were shooting on location for a film that you would have loved to live.
So many. Cape Breton, Nova Scotia.
Breton, Nova Scotia.
Cape Breton, Nova Scotia.
Gotcha. Cape Breton, Nova Scotia.
Barbados. New York. Paris. Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
And LA, huh? Yeah. City of Angels. Awesome. Okay, great. Question number 2. And we talked about this roughly, right? When we were talking about your period pieces and watching the chick flicks, right? But name one piece of current technology besides the cell phone, that you think would have been cool to have in your teenage years.
Go first.
Okay. Did we have microwaves when we were little? When we did when we were teenagers.
When we got into high school, we had them. Yeah.
The Fire Stick, laptop. Oh gosh. I can't imagine life without. I guess that's it.
Hey.
Vaporizers.
Vaporizers. Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic little device.
Great technology. Awesome. And you guys are passing with flying colors. All right. Excuse me. And question number 3. With the recent rise of social injustice and protests over George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, in 5 words or less, can you state your hope for this country?
Can I do 6 words?
Please do.
There's not enough we can do.
Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
I'm gonna do 4, and I'm stealing from somebody.
That's perfect.
I have a dream.
I have a dream. Wonderful. So heartfelt and
Oh.
so relatable, even decades later, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
But there is not enough we can do, and we have to.
There's not enough. There's not enough we can do, for sure. For sure. I couldn't agree more. Eric, Eliza, it's been such an honor and privilege and pleasure chatting with you and getting to learn more about you and learning about the Phoenix product and just, just all sorts of fun conversations. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having us. We are the reason we're being so silly is our kitty was just nearby meowing, and we wanted.
Oh, hey, what a cutie!
But thank you, Aubrey. It was so great. We love you. We want to do this every day.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm always up for a great conversation.
Okay.
I really.
Whenever you want to talk to us, let me know. We'll do it up.
Yeah.
Okay, I surely will, Eric and Eliza. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in and listening. So when you have a chance, please log on to Apple iTunes or Spreaker or Spotify to where you can leave a short review and rate the show. It's been great having you tuning in and listening. We're all roadies on this journey of life. And you know what? It sure feels good having you on the journey with me. Thanks again. We'll chat again soon.